Lori Daybell married her husband Chad on November 5th, 2019. It was a small ceremony celebrated in Hawaii. Chad and Lori met at a conference in October of 2018 where Chad was talking about his visions of the end of the world. Chad's prior wife Tammy died at home 2 weeks before he married Lori. Lori's prior husband Charles was shot and killed by Lori's brother 4 months before she married Chad. Lori's children, Tylee and JJ, disappeared about 2 months before Chad and Lori's wedding. Now Chad and Lori are locked up, charged with the murders of Tammy, JJ, and Tylee. Lori has also been charged with Charles' murder in Arizona. Tonight, Lori Daybell getting ready to face a jury who will tell the world whether or not she is a child killer. We are live from Boise with all the latest from inside the courthouse.
I'm Vinnie Politan. Thank you so much for joining us tonight here on Closing Arguments as we get ready for a huge trial out in Boise, Idaho. And this is a story unlike any other. It really is. It takes a while. If it's the first time you heard of the case, it takes a while for all of it to really settle in and to really understand all the various layers, bizarre behavior, and things that have happened. Like I said, it's a story unlike any other. And for me, we go back. Lori Daybell is at one time Lori Vallow. She's married to a man named Charles. But her husband, Charles, is murdered or killed by her brother, Alex. So her brother kills her husband. Okay, kind of unusual, maybe some sort of domestic situation. He claimed self-defense at the time. Afterwards, investigators took a closer look at it. After all the other layers became unraveled, and it was clear that this would have been a murder trial for Alex Cox if he was still alive. But he's also dead. That's the brother of Lori Daybell, who at one time was Lori Vallow. Okay, so her brother kills her husband. Afterwards, there's video. She's not upset. She's smiling. She's cracking jokes with the responding officer. Her kids are there. It's just like another day. It's really strange. Your brother has just shot and killed your husband, and you're cracking jokes? Also, her children disappeared. And this was really the beginning of the story. Charles, when he was shot and killed, it didn't make national headlines. It just didn't. But when these two children went missing, JJ and his sister Tylee, it became big news. And then we kind of, again, peeled back the layers to find out that, oh my goodness, the children are missing. The father was shot by the children's uncle. What in the world is going on in this woman's world? Why all this strange behavior? There's more. She ends up getting married. Who does she marry? A new widower, someone who's just lost his wife. That's Chad Daybell. Was married to a woman named Tammy, seemed to be a very lovely woman. They seemed to have a very normal life. He was a grave digger, then he started writing some books, and they raised a family. They're living in eastern Idaho, living a very nice life. And somehow, some way, she dies, and then like 2 weeks later, the new widower marries Lori Daybell, the woman whose husband was shot by her brother and the woman with 2 missing children. Now, we are where we are. Both of them, Lori and Chad, are locked up, both facing murder charges for the 2 children and for his first wife, Tammy. It's going to be 2 different trials, though. Lori is first up. That's the case we're talking about. All of this stuff, most of it took place in eastern Idaho. Some of it took place down in Arizona. But the trial is taking place in Boise, Idaho, because of all the publicity and all of the connections that people had to the case and the church and everything else. So Let's go right out to Court TV legal correspondent Chad Lori Daybell, joining us live tonight outside that beautiful courthouse in Boise, Idaho. Chad Lori, great to see you tonight. This trial and our coverage of this trial is going to be much different than what people normally see and hear right here on your front row seat to justice. So why don't you take us for a little tour here around give us the lay of the land out there in Boise.
Yeah, great to be with you, Vinny. Of course, we've been all over East Idaho covering this story for years, almost 4 years. Can you believe it? That we've been on the ground following every twist and turn in this case. And as you mentioned, because of a change of venue now, we're 4 hours, almost 5 hours away from East Idaho in Boise, the largest county in the state of Idaho here. This is the Ada County Courthouse, and earlier today, I did a little show and tell. Let's watch. We're here in Boise, Idaho for the big trial against Lori Vallow Daybell, and all the action is taking place inside this massive courthouse behind me in downtown, the Ada County Courthouse. And even though the crimes alleged in this trial took place hundreds of miles from here in East Idaho, the administrators here, the court staff here, have been preparing for this for a long time. Let's take a look around. The first thing you're going to notice outside the main entrance of this courthouse, these metal barricades designating the media area. So this is where our live shots are going to be set up. There are barricades on both sides of this grand entrance. Really, these are the doors up these steps where members of the public, the media, will enter each day. Plus, the attorneys for Lori Vallow Daybell make their way in and out of these doors. But as far as Lori and the jurors and other parties, there's a special secret entrance for those people. The courtroom where all of this is unfolding is on the 4th floor of this courthouse. The judge is expected to run a tight ship, only 30 minutes for lunch each day. And while there's no cameras inside that courtroom or really beyond these doors, there is an overflow room where a restricted live stream is taking place inside this courthouse for members of the public or media who don't get a seat inside the courtroom. There's also a restricted live stream taking place hundreds of miles from here in Madison County in Rexburg, Idaho, where these crimes actually took place. But don't worry, we have you covered here on the ground for everything happening in this trial. Anthony, that restricted live stream inside this courthouse, people have been showing up, not just media, members of the public to watch here, but like I said, in Rexburg, Idaho, that Madison County courthouse that we've been to a couple of times, there's also a setup for a restricted live stream because that's where the crimes took place. Any members of the public or families still there in the area can go and watch it unfold because, again, there's no cameras, no release of anything happening in those live streams. We do get the audio, as you know, a couple of days or a day after that happens, but Rexburg, we've been there a couple of times. That's where Lori, of course, had an apartment along with her brother, Alex Cox, I believe even her niece, Melanie Boudreau, even lived there at the time, around the time that Tylee and JJ went missing in the fall of 2019. So even though it's many hours away, it's still very much an issue here. People that I've talked to just traveling here, they know about this case. People walk up and go inside this courthouse and they go, oh, they're here for the Daybell trial. It's definitely something that people are aware of, Vinny.
It's fascinating to see. So there will be some video and audio in the courtroom, but not released to the public, just pumped into an overflow room in Boise and then across the state in East Idaho for folks from the community where these murders took place. Okay, so who's going to be able to actually see what's happening inside the courtroom?
Well, there's a limited amount of seats available for the public and the media. 65 seats inside that courtroom, Vinny, and you have to register the day before. So I have my alarm set for tomorrow morning to have a seat on Monday, and you have to go through a process online to register for that. And if not, then you are in the overflow room. Again, there's 200 seats to have that limited live stream view in the overflow room. And we also know that the designated family members of the victims can be inside the courtroom. The sketch artist can be inside the courtroom as well. There was an issue that the sketch artist couldn't be in there this week because prospective jurors are taking up the gallery, Vinny. So she was drawing from the overflow room, but on Monday she will be in there, and I actually caught up with her today in person, was able to interview her. She's actually just an art teacher. It's uncommon to find, sketch artists here in Idaho. Usually there's cameras in the courtroom. She talked to me about this opportunity and what it means to her. Let's watch.
A couple couple weeks ago, I was contacted by two individuals that know me, and they said, we have this opportunity. Is this something you're interested in? And it took me a moment. I was like, well, tell me more, because I'm familiar with the case. And they told me that, you know, it's good that you know about the case, because it's going to have, you know, it's going to be a little bit of an emotional charged case given the nature. And so as I was interviewing with them, I told them, I said, you know, I'm actually working on getting my master's degree in art therapy and counseling. So just having the opportunity to be sketching what I'm going to be sketching, the feelings and emotions of the room, because nobody else can be in there, would be an amazing opportunity for me personally. But me professionally, I just get to do what I love, which is to observe and document what I see around me.
She says that she's just focusing on her job. She takes time to decompress at night. It's going to be a heavy topic already, really, and what she's observing. Maybe she may even bring some little, you know, binoculars or something on Monday when she's in the courtroom, so she can get up close, a glimpse to everyone's face. She's done research ahead of time. She's into it, and we are thankful that she's here because, like you said, no cameras, so really she is going to be depicting what we can see when we are in the courtroom.
She will provide the images from inside. I mean, the only things that we'll be able to provide are some of the witnesses coming in and out of the courthouse, etc. But the actual moments, she is the one who will capture it, as well as you inside there telling us and describing to us what happened. Let's get back to family members, though. I know this is a big point of contention in this case. What did the judge decide about what family members are in, what family members are out?
Yeah, a big ruling earlier today, the judge issuing who can be in and who cannot be in. There was an order the judge did issue, the rule of sequestration, which we usually see, Vinnie, right? Where if you're subpoenaed to testify, you can't be inside the courtroom so that your testimony isn't potentially tainted by listening to other witnesses. That was invoked, but there is an exception for victims here. Under Idaho law, let's look at what the judge cited in his order. He does define, you know, victim, Idaho Code Section 195306. Says a victim is an individual who suffers direct or threatened physical, financial, or emotional harm as a result of the commission of a crime. And of course, the Woodcocks, the grandparents of J.J. Vallow, felt like that definitely includes them and a lot of other people affected by this crime. The judge went further to define who was immediate family. He cited a 2013 case, State versus Shackleton, to clarify that. And the court defined immediate family members as a parent, mother-in-law, father-in-law, husband, wife, sister, brother, brother-in-law, sister-in-law, son-in-law, daughter-in-law, or son or daughter. As you can see, it doesn't say grandparents. J.J. Vallow being the adoptive, Kay Woodcock would be his adoptive aunt. She was a sister to his adopted father, Charles Vallow, who is no longer alive. So in the end, the judge did designate her as the representative of J.J. She can be in the courtroom at all times, regardless of whether it's before she actually testifies. However, her husband, Larry, did not meet that definition according to the judge, but we expect the prosecution to call him early in the case in chief so that he could testify and then sit inside the courtroom from the remainder for the remainder of testimony. Vinnie, and you recall, nearly 4 years ago, we're basically here because Kay Woodcock called the Rexburg Police Department to do that welfare check in the fall of 2019 when she hadn't heard from or seen her grandson JJ in several months. So that's a big win for the Woodcocks.
It is. I'd like to see Larry in there the whole time, but he has to wait until he testifies. This case doesn't exist because no one was looking for JJ but Kay and Larry. They were the ones. Okay. Channeling Page to stand by. She's staying with us this hour. Joining us in Portland, Oregon now for some reaction to this big decision, the attorney representing Kay and Larry Woodcock, Shannon Gray's back with us. Shannon, thanks so much for coming back. Let's start your reaction to the judge's ruling today for your clients, Larry and Kay.
Well, it was a good day. They're going to be allowed in the courtroom. Kay is going to be a representative for J.J. Vallow, which is ultimately what we wanted on this case. Larry will have to give his testimony, and then after that, he'll be allowed to sit in the courtroom. So It's not the path. I read through the judge's order, and it's not the path I would have taken to get to that decision, but it is ultimately the good news for the Woodcock family. So,
absolutely. So that means Kay could be there throughout. She'll get to speak if there's a conviction as a victim. Someone there representing JJ, right?
Well, ultimately, the judge limited his decision on her being a representative for JJ Vallow just for the trial. And I suspect he did that because there hasn't been a conviction yet. I would assume that at the end of the trial, if there is a conviction on this case, that he would allow Kay to continue to be the personal representative for JJ Vallow and be able to give a victim impact statement and also pursue any restitution or compensation on behalf of JJ.
Absolutely. And Kay and Larry today, how are they holding up?
Well, they're relieved. I mean, it's been a stressful week for them. All the work and things that they've done to get this case where it's at, and the idea that they wouldn't be allowed to view those things, view the trial and confront Ms. Vallow and those types of things, I think was very stressful for them. So they're really excited to be in the courtroom and to look her in the face and make sure that she knows that they're there and they're going to hold her accountable.
Now, if I was prosecuting the case, I would start with Larry. He'd be my first witness, you know, so he could be in the courtroom, number one. Number two, because he loves and loved that little boy, and every time he speaks about him, it comes through. It makes everything much more real. Do we have any idea about when Larry will be called as a witness?
I would suspect he'd be the first couple of witnesses. If you're going to follow the path of the case chronologically, they're the ones that initiated it. So I would presume that they would be the first couple of witnesses in the case, and Larry would be able to sit in for the rest of the trial. But I don't personally know what the prosecution's witness list looks like and what order they're going to be doing those presenting witnesses. But I would suspect they'd be pretty up front. So.
All right, well, that's fantastic news. It really is. I mean, that would have been disastrous if Larry and Kay, Grandma and Grandpa, who love JJ so much, and love Tylee too, would not be able to be there, because it's always a tragedy when no one is in that courtroom for the victims. And certainly Charles isn't there because Lori's brother shot and killed him, and Lori is not there for her children either, because she's accused of murdering them. So Shannon Gray, doing great work as always. Thank you so much, and hopefully we'll speak with you again soon.